Hello, I am David W. Parker. This is Programming Today, I Learned Rails series. Today we're going to be adding completely from scratch a contact us form, and not the front end, of course, but the API, as we're working on a Rails API. So we'll have the migration, we will add the model, the validations necessary. We're going to add a little bit of spam protection, and we're going to go ahead and make sure we're sending an email to the admin or us to be able to check it all out. So let's go ahead and dive in. So as a quick result, we'll just show the code coverage. You can see we have our controller here all covered. Our mailer is mostly covered. I'm not checking the subject and that it's actually sent there. We have validations and hooks, and then the model itself. And then we can see we send an email, and this is the email we're getting as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at all the code. First thing is migration. It's very simple. Contact us is the name of the table. It's got a name, an email, and a body, and then timestamps. Routes, we'll go ahead and we're going to create a single route for the resources us. Contact us for create. The create is just this post. It's going to have the contact us params. It's going to require contact and then permit the email, body, and name. And if it saves, we're going to go ahead and render out the controller contact us success. Otherwise, we're just going to say oops 401 for now. And that is this message here, contact us success in our en.yml. The contact us model here, again, has been auto annotated. We're going to have two different concerns, one for our hooks and one for our validations. Very simple. The hooks first, of course, is going to be before we validate, we're going to downcase the email. And then we're going to after create, we're going to send the admin email. So downcase email, I was going to say self email, email downcase if the email is present. And then send admin email is just going to use our emails, contact us mailer, and then contact with this information from the contact us, which is what self is. Validations here, we have a little bit more going on. I have added this little protection in here just based off of my experiences. This helps get rid of most spam so far. And I said note different Unicode because of duplicates. So like it says cryptocurrency twice, but really one of these is different because of the Unicode. Just annoying, but it's the way it is. Same with dating. So basically, these are my stop words. If anyone's putting URLs in, they're putting in passive income, pharmacy, sex, dating, sexy, shipping, surgical, US dollar, these kind of words, I automatically just spew it out and I give the error of nope. So I don't really let the user know why. But in general, what I'm doing is I have validate. This is the last one. It's a special validation, custom, and I can return unless the name and body are present. And then I say if the spam is in any of the words in the name or any of the body, we just don't accept the contact. And the other validations I have here is body and name presence. It's interesting that even though these are in order, that's not checked before this is called. So these can be nil. So you definitely need to return first. I'm also validating the email presence with the URI mail to email regex format. So it's kind of a naive way to do some spam checking, but like I said, I've only had valid contacts go through ever since I've added a few of these things, and I've had to add some over time to enable a little bit more. But depending on your use case, maybe you're building a Facebook application, you don't want to remove Facebook, etc. So back in that hooks, it does do the call to the mailer. This is our first mailer. The reason I have mailers and then emails underneath is because this is going to line up with the views. And if you don't do this, your views are just going to live everywhere throughout your application. So it would be like contact us mailer, and then all these different mailers under views. I like to group them under email. Now, it might not be necessary in an API application because the only views we're going to have are going to be mailers. But in general, I like to have them be put in their own section together. So emails, contact us mailer. It's going to use the layout of mailer. Takes in that contact. And then I'm going to say, here's a contact us on ProgrammingTIL. And then send it to support. No reply. Set it as the variable and then mail it. The corresponding file has to live in the same section. So emails, contact us mailer, and then the name of the method, contact. And this just only goes to the admin, so I don't need to make it look pretty or anything. So I just said you have a new contact us request, contact us name, email, body. So now if I click through and I look at that, test, tester, test. So I just ran this via my console, created a contact us, set the name, email, body, saved, it inserted. It added the enqueued action mailer job. In my over here, I have a form and start running, so it's running my worker as well as my web. You could see it ran my action delivery job to send that email. Over here, I ran the RSpec tests, so you could see everything passed. And again, I don't believe in 100% coverage, even though I have close to it. That doesn't make sense in most applications. Just cover what is the most logical to cover. You don't need to cover, everything. Whatever makes the most sense for your business that is most mission critical. A few things I needed to do to set up some of these tests is I have a queue adapter here set for test for active job. In my object creators, I had to change the get headers here slightly to accept a nil login. And if so, it basically just goes ahead and sets the contact type and the accept. That's because this is a section in our application that will not require a user to be making these requests. We have a couple of new specs here. We have one to cover the request itself for the controller and then one for the model. Let's look at the controller one first. This is very similar to all of the other ones we've done. So we only have a couple of specs here. We have one for returns 200 with valid data, and then we have one for 401 with invalid data. So if we go back to our controller, you could see those are the two paths here. So we're going to cover each of those. So we have the URL, we have the params, so body, email, test, poor Joe, get headers, and you can see it checks the message sent successfully. And then with the invalid data, we're going to go ahead and just leave body as nil, or empty string rather, and also setting out get headers, etc. And then it's going to have a 401, and both of those pass just fine. And that one's here, yeah. And then for our contact us spec, I have a couple of contexts. First thing is we have to include the active job test helper. That's a little bit different, as well as a type of model. So this is our first model test, and we can do a lot of these for all of them if we want to. I said that it's at 95%, but that's not really true because it doesn't actually see everything that's going on. And some of the other specs may have things that should be in a model spec, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just specifically the validations. So we're going to create a contact us. That was the other thing I did do is I just created this. So it's creating the body, email, name. Otherwise, it's providing test data and using contact us create. So as a new contact, it's valid. And then I go ahead and set the body to nil and then see that it's not valid anymore. Same thing with name. We're going to go set the name to nil, and now we know the name it's not valid. Finally, with the email, nil, and then it's not valid. I'm going to go ahead and check the spam for both within the body as well as within the name and see that it's not valid. And if you wanted to group these together, you could do something like that and see that's invalid and put the contact email here and reset the body to be something valid, but I just like to have them split up. And then the hooks, we have two hooks. One in downcase is the email. So I'm going to set the email with capital letters, and then I'm going to expect it to equal all lowercase. And then finally, we have a spec here for the mailer. And so we're going to create the contact us. And then this is where we would need to require the test helper here for active job. So you could see the enqueued size was 1. And this is kind of a little bit of a hack, but this is an easy way to check that we have the right mailer as well as the right method. And you can go in and do a lot more with that, but for my sake, and generally speaking, like I said, I don't test 100%. I just like to make sure it's working for the most part. So that was just the first job, the arguments hash within that, and then the first and second arguments. So that's it. We gone ahead and we have our first model spec. We have a whole contact us form that we can use on our front end now. Hope you guys like and subscribe to this. Support me on Patreon if you, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.